On December 24, 2025, as Southern California bustled with last-minute shoppers and families hung their final ornaments, a serious warning arrived that would change the holiday mood. The air was filled with anticipation, not just for Christmas, but for something far less welcome, a major weather event. The National Weather Service issued an urgent alert. A powerful storm was imminent, one that would be far more intense than the region's usual winter rain. Meteorologists tracked the system as it rapidly approached, their faces tense as they analyzed data and prepared the public for what was coming. This wasn't just another rainy day. The forecast called for an atmospheric river, a long, narrow band of moisture in the atmosphere capable of dumping dangerous amounts of water in a short time. Along with torrential rain, forecasters warned of fierce winds strong enough to topple trees and power lines, threatening to disrupt holiday gatherings and travel plans. The alert spread rapidly across Los Angeles, Orange, and San Diego counties. Within minutes, TV screens flashed warnings, radios interrupted music with emergency messages, and smartphones buzzed with urgent notifications. The message was clear: everyone needed to prepare, and fast. The main threats were severe flooding from relentless rain and damaging winds that could turn everyday objects into hazards. Streets that just hours before were filled with holiday cheer now faced the risk of becoming impassable rivers, and neighborhoods worried about the safety of their homes and loved ones. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency. Even before the first raindrop fell, emergency supplies were being loaded onto trucks, and rescue teams readied their equipment. The state was determined to act swiftly, hoping to minimize the storm's impact. The warning urged families to reconsider travel plans, especially with the ground already saturated from a previous storm. People rushed to secure their homes, placing sandbags at doorways and checking flashlights and batteries, knowing that preparation could make all the difference. For a region famous for its mild, sunny holidays, this was a rare and urgent call to action. Many residents, unaccustomed to such severe weather, found themselves surprised and even a little anxious as they watched the news and saw the storm clouds gathering. The message from officials wasn't meant to frighten, but to empower. Families checked their emergency kits, parents calmly explained storm preparations to their children, and neighbors looked out for one another. The focus was on readiness, not panic, reminding everyone that nature's power doesn't pause for the holidays, and that being prepared is the best gift you can give your loved ones. Listening to weather experts and following their advice became the first step in keeping communities safe. Meteorologists provided regular updates, helping families make informed decisions about how to protect themselves and their property. Even in the midst of festive celebrations, taking a moment to pay attention to these warnings could make all the difference between a safe holiday and a dangerous one. As the storm approached, Southern California braced itself, united by the hope that preparation and vigilance would keep the season bright, even under stormy skies. This was no ordinary winter storm for Southern California. Scientists called it an atmospheric river, a skyborne river of moisture set to unleash torrents of rain. As this river hit the mountains, it dumped heavy rain, raising fears of flash floods. Powerful winds up to 55 mph threatened to topple trees, especially with the ground already soaked. The risk of falling trees and power outages was high. Unusually, there was even a small chance of tornadoes, rare for the region, due to wind shear. The combination of flooding, wind, and a tornado risk made this a complex, dangerous event. Southern California's sunny reputation was no match for this powerful, unpredictable storm. When the storm hit, it delivered on every warning. The sky darkened in the middle of the day, and the air was thick with anticipation. People watched from their windows as the first drops fell, quickly turning into a relentless downpour. The sound of rain drumming on rooftops and the howl of the wind created an atmosphere both thrilling and unsettling. Rain fell in heavy sheets, over 3 inches in many neighborhoods, and nearly 10 inches in the Santa Monica Mountains in just 24 hours. Streets that were dry hours before became slick and treacherous, and the relentless rain showed no sign of letting up. Water pooled in gutters and rushed down hillsides, overwhelming the city's drainage systems. Streets became rivers, and low-lying areas quickly flooded homes and businesses. Cars struggled to make their way through the rising water, and residents scrambled to protect their property. For many, the floodwaters arrived faster than they could react, leaving them stranded or forced to evacuate. Burn scar areas saw destructive mudslides as water rushed over bare ground, carrying debris downhill. Hillsides that had once been covered in vegetation now gave way, sending mud and rocks tumbling into neighborhoods below. The scars from previous wildfires made these areas especially vulnerable, and the damage was swift and severe. Winds howled, with gusts up to 98 mph in the mountains and over 50 mph in the city, snapping branches and toppling trees. The roar of the wind was constant, rattling windows and sending debris flying through the air. Palm trees bent nearly sideways, and the city's iconic tree-lined streets were littered with broken limbs. Power outages spread as trees crashed onto lines. Entire neighborhoods were plunged into darkness, with only the flashes of emergency lights breaking through the gloom. Utility crews worked through the night, braving the elements to restore power and clear dangerous debris. Oxnard set a new rainfall record for Christmas Eve. Streets overflowed, and residents watched in disbelief as rain gauges filled to the brim. For many, it was the wettest holiday they could remember, and the city's infrastructure was pushed to its limits. The storm's intensity was historic, turning a holiday week into a fight against nature. Emergency responders rushed to help those in need, while families worked together to protect their homes with sandbags and makeshift barriers. The community came together, but the challenge was immense. The atmospheric river's energy and moisture left a trail of flooding, mudslides, and wind damage. The landscape was transformed in a matter of hours, with neighborhoods unrecognizable beneath layers of mud and water. The cleanup would take days, if not weeks. For many, it was a Christmas Eve they'd never forget. The storm became a shared experience, a story that would be told for years to come. Families huddled together, watching the storm's fury and hoping for the safety of loved ones. The storm's power was a stark reminder of nature's unpredictability. In just a single day, lives were changed and landscapes reshaped, leaving behind a powerful lesson in respect for the forces that shape our world. The mention of tornadoes in the forecast caught everyone's attention. While the risk was only about 2%, it was unusual for Southern California. Tornadoes need wind shear, winds blowing at different speeds or directions at different heights. The storm created some wind shear, but lacked other ingredients for large tornadoes. Any tornadoes here are usually weak, rated EF0 or EF1, causing minor damage. During the storm, a brief tornado warning was issued near Alhambra, but no tornado touched down. The warning was quickly canceled, but it showed why forecasters mention every risk. Even a small chance can be serious if conditions change. Staying alert to all threats is key to safety during unpredictable storms. As the storm approached, officials and residents sprang into action. Evacuations were ordered for canyons near wildfire burn scars, and shelters opened for displaced families. Roads, including parts of Pacific Coast Highway, were closed to prevent drivers from getting trapped. Emergency teams and equipment were positioned for rapid response. Even Disneyland closed early, a rare move, putting safety over tradition. Families stocked up on essentials, cleared gutters, and used sandbags to protect their homes. Many canceled travel plans, choosing safety over celebration. These collective efforts, big and small, helped minimize harm as the storm arrived. On Christmas Eve, the storm's full force hit Southern California. Rain intensified, wind roared, and the festive mood turned to caution. In Wrightwood, mudslides trapped cars and flooded homes, prompting dramatic rescues. Cities faced widespread flooding as storm drains overflowed, stranding drivers in deep water. Emergency crews worked through the night, rescuing people from flooded vehicles. Winds snapped branches and toppled trees onto homes, roads, and power lines, causing blackouts. Many spent Christmas Eve by candlelight, waiting for power to return. The storm tested the region's preparedness and resilience. It was a Christmas marked by nature's power, not just holiday cheer. The storm upended Christmas traditions for thousands. Dangerous roads and warnings forced families to cancel travel and gatherings. Video calls replaced in-person celebrations, and holiday meals were shared with only those at home. Churches streamed services online, and public events were canceled. The storm turned Christmas into a quieter, more private affair. Yet some families found unexpected joy in the simplicity. Playing games, watching movies, and spending quality time together. The shared experience brought people closer, even as plans changed. The true spirit of Christmas shone through, togetherness and safety over perfect plans. Amid chaos, stories of resilience and kindness emerged. As the winds howled and rain battered the streets, neighbors and strangers alike found ways to reach out, offering a helping hand or a comforting word. In the darkest moments, the true spirit of the community shone through, reminding everyone that even in hardship, hope can be found. In the San Fernando Valley, neighbors worked together to clear a fallen tree, sharing coffee and support. Laughter mixed with the sound of chainsaws as people, some of whom had never spoken before, came together to restore their street. The simple act of working side by side turned strangers into friends, and a daunting task into a moment of unity. A family evacuated to a shelter in Trabuco Canyon found comfort in donated food, blankets, and toys from strangers. Volunteers, many of whom had faced their own losses, worked tirelessly to make the shelter feel like home. For the children, a donated toy or a warm meal brought smiles and a sense of normalcy, even as the storm raged outside. Emergency responders became heroes, rescuing people from flooded cars and missing their own celebrations. Firefighters, police officers, and paramedics braved dangerous conditions, putting the safety of others before their own. Their dedication and courage inspired gratitude and admiration throughout the community. Some adapted quietly. An elderly couple cooked Christmas dinner on a grill by candlelight, making the best of a powerless night. Families gathered around tables lit by flashlights and candles, sharing stories and laughter. These small moments of togetherness became cherished memories, proof that joy can be found even when the lights go out. These stories, big and small, showed the community's strength and generosity. From sharing a meal to offering shelter, every act of kindness made a difference. The bonds formed during the storm would last long after the skies cleared, weaving a stronger, more compassionate community. The storm became more than a weather event. It was a chapter of shared challenge and compassion. People leaned on each other, finding comfort in unity and hope in the face of adversity. The memories of these days would become stories told for years to come, a testament to the power of coming together. For many, it was a Christmas defined by kindness and resilience. In the aftermath, the community emerged stronger, grateful for the generosity and courage that carried them through the storm. These stories remind us that even in the toughest times, the best of humanity can shine the brightest. When the storm cleared, the damage was evident, but it could have been far worse. Weather experts' warnings and guidance saved lives, giving people time to prepare. Their clear, consistent messaging helped communities avoid tragedy. Areas that followed evacuation orders saw no injuries, while ignoring warnings led to dangerous rescues. The storm proved that forecasts are vital tools, not just guesses. Trusting the experts is the best way to stay safe when nature turns unpredictable. The Christmas storm of 2025 was a powerful lesson. Listen, prepare, and respect the forces of nature.